Let's get into the Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority. We've been joined by the Director General, Paul Asare Ansah. Chief, good morning. How are you doing?
Fine, thank you.
Great, and congratulations. We haven't met after the IPR ball.
Yeah, right.
Congratulations. How's the award faring?
Oh, yeah. It's motivating us to do more.
I see.
Yes.
What more are you doing at the Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority? First, tell me, how is it doing there?
What we are doing very well. The paperless has come to the paperless system
right.
of clearing cargo has come to introduce new dynamism into our business, and so far all the strategic interventions that we are rolling to make things better are working well.
Right.
The cost-cutting interventions, you could see that the cost of doing business has gone, low. Our administrative costs and all that, at the same time that we are growing incomes.
Okay.
And that's the bottom line of every business. But then our business processes have also improved.
Okay.
And that has translated into minimization from our perspective, lowering the cost of doing business. It has led to expediting the clearance process. The delays have gone down, and revenues have also improved. So for us, so far we are not doing badly at all.
I see.
Yeah.
Interesting. So let's pick the issues one after the other. How is the paperless system doing at this point? We know that it was started on a pilot basis. It had its own set of challenges. But what is its current state at this point?
Well, we did not have the opportunity to pilot.
Okay.
But we went straight away, and it had its own challenges.
So the talk by some elements of the previous government that it was piloted during their time around the 2015-2016 is not correct?
No, there was no pilot. There was no piloting. All the computerized programs that we put in place were done within a very short time.
Right.
This year. I mean, nobody can take the credit away from the Vice President.
Right.
Yeah, he took the badly needed initiative. In fact, we needed to, we needed a central authority, a coordinating factor to put together, to bring together all the stakeholder agencies.
Right.
Right. To let us appreciate the fact that we cannot do things the way we used to do. I mean, we had a multiplicity of agencies, each of them having its own regulatory instruments,
right,
entitling them to do what they are doing in a manner they would want to do it.
Right. And
no matter what level of consultation and engagement to change, those entrenched cultural practices. And then when the Vice President put us together and directed that, hey, change the way you are doing it, get away with the papers, and let it be computerized way of doing it, paperless way of doing it. Everybody had that understanding that we are going to a different direction. And hey, everybody had to comply because there were consequences for non-compliance.
You had previously been the head of communications at the Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority.
Marketing and communication.
So did we need a Vice President to come to tell us
absolutely
that this was the problem?
We knew the problem. Everybody knew the problem. But I was always calling for a central coordinating factor.
Why were we not getting it?
We're not getting it because each agency operating in the port is an independent agency.
Right.
And they have their own legislative instruments. If national security or customs says this is how we want to do this to achieve that, you cannot influence a change of that way of doing it. Although we knew that there was the need to do things differently because we have visited various ports.
Right.
Just around us, Lome was employing the paperless, system.
Right.
Cotonou was employing the paperless system. Of course, Nigeria, Cote d'Ivoire, they were struggling. We knew. In our own system, we had employed some automation, business process automation, in various aspects. We had security systems were automated. operational systems, we had introduced some level of automation, though there's still more to be done.
Okay.
Right. In management system, also the enterprise resource and the planning, we were using automation. But that is at the organizational level.
Okay.
But we needed an integrated computerized system to drive the cargo clearance process. And that was what was lacking.
What has been the hiccup, one major challenge, as you would be able to pinpoint for us, of the paperless system now? Yes, it's helping with revenue generation, it's helping with coordination, but what is the downturn? Do we have any?
Systems integration is one problem.
Okay.
To get our systems to talk with each other effectively and efficiently, there's still some room for improvement. Right. There are certain aspects that still paper is introduced at certain point by certain agencies, and we are also compelled to take the paper and to continue to process. We have had stakeholder engagements to identify these challenges, which we are working on. Then also the the Francophone countries call the paperless system guichet unique.
Okay.
Guichet unique means that there's one system service provider.
Okay.
Right. We don't have anything like the West Blue, GCNet, and others who are coming in. There's only one single driver, which is driving the process, and so everything is attributed to them. But sometimes you don't know which of the service providers has to provide. You need to fall on. Exactly. And that is also a major challenge. So going forward, we definitely have to reconcile, harmonize, those systems, so that we get.
Do we have plans for that?
Well, that one is the Ministry of Trade and Customs. Right. Yes, they will have to decide on how to harmonize those systems. Of course, we have been engaging with each other. There was one occasion where we called for dialogue. Agency to agency dialogue between us and customs, where we identified a lot of the challenges which we are addressing one after the other.
Okay, hold on, sir, for me. Let's go on to the telephone line to speak with Samson Awigo, which is Executive Secretary of the Importers and Exporters Association of Ghana. Samson, good morning, and thank you very much indeed for your time.
Good morning, and good morning to your shareholders listeners. And let me say a very big good morning to my senior comrade and friend, Director General of Ghana Port and Harbour. I'm told he's in your studio there.
Absolutely, he's here. Something.
Okay, but you guys have ambushed me. I've just been called a few seconds ago by your producer.
Something. We work with you. When you have issues and you ambush us, we don't complain. So it's 1-1 draw. so tell me. Off the top of your mind, if I ask you to enumerate 3 challenges that importers and exporters face at their ports, what would you say these are?
Well, then you put me at a fixed corner. I don't know. Well, I don't know which areas that you are discussing with the DJ of GPH this morning.
Broad spectrum, paperless system. Paperless system is one. High cost, perhaps, of import and export is another. And then we're looking at the multiplicity of agencies operating at the ports. What would your questions be if you had 3 concerns to raise?
Well, quite clearly, in the cost of doing business in the port, I must say, does not. Sometimes when they say cost of doing business in the port, then someone thinks that it's about Ghana Port and Harbour Authority. The Ghana Port and Harbour Authority is just a landlord, and so though they are also contributing to, in terms of rent collections of from importers and other fees and charges, but there are other agencies and other players in the industry that are also operating in the port, and sometimes there are fees and charges to also warrant up for us to talk about the ease of doing business in the port. I must say the current recent increment of the Ghana Port and Harbour Authority tariff, we made it all stakeholders applaud the Ghana Port and Harbour Authority for listening to us. Indeed, they were supposed to implement their new tariff sometime February this year or so.
Okay.
Because of this, we have pushed them to tell them that, look, it wasn't good for the importing and exporting community. However, we also appreciated that the Ghana Port and Harbour Authority for the past 3 years have not also increased their tariff. Meanwhile, they are investing and they continue to make the port beneficial for imported and exported use. Though we still think that it should do something about their tariff. Indeed, most of their tariff was last, and even on export, they never increased, because the last time we had a meeting with the Director General to talk about export, as compared to the import that comes to the country and then the export that leaves this country, we think that it was something insignificant, and we needed to improve in our export. So they did not even increase any tariff on the new tariff that they've just implemented quite recently for export. So that is a good thing that we must say kudos to the GPHA and the management.
Finally, what would your concern be?
You come to the service providers, as we just made mention. We know that currently we are working with the GCNet and West Blues platform. Though the rumor that is out there talking about the Unipass, of course, I said somewhere that because no government has engaged us, no service provider has engaged about the Unipass. For me, as a professional advocate, I wouldn't want to be devil into that advocacy to say that there's a triple single window when we don't have a triple single window at the moment in the port. That's a rumor, and the Minister of Trade hasn't come out to tell us anything, nor the service provider come out to tell us anything. As we speak, if we have challenges, we may have challenges on the West Blue platform. Sometimes in terms of when they're doing compliance. Of course, mind you, if you want to clear goods at the port today, and you are an importer, you hand over all your documents to an agent. Then the agent that have the platform will have to do an entry to custom head office. Indeed, as you are aware, that there's no longer the long room in Temaport here. So when they do the entry, the custom head office, we call place STB or so, Tenka TBST, something like that, the Tenka Blue Center, where they will produce your CCVR for you, and then for you to go and pay the duty at the end of the bank, and then send it back compliance to be given to you before you can go and make a request on the gigs, so that you can go and do examination in the port. So sometimes compliance delay, and that is where most of the agents and importers do complain. Apart from that, there are also other charges from the shipping companies that sometimes washing of container, evacuation of container, and of course the demurrage, the automatic demurrage that we are all talking about. I'm sure you heard the Gutta did something like that some few weeks ago, and today AGI is also doing something about demurrage. I think last year alone, if my memory serves me right, and I'm sure the Director General is sitting in the office there, in your studio there, will confirm that about $75 million was paid out of demurrage in Ghana here. And when they say demurrage, it is not rent. If it's rent, like to Ghana Port and Harbour Authority, we say the money stay in this country. But if the word is demurrage, it means that it's for the shipping company. And so the shipping company will have to repatriate all this money back to their principal. Mind you, their principals no owe a shipping company in this country. So all the multinational companies are here to make...
Samson Awegobeta, thank you very much. He's the Executive Secretary of the Importers and Exporters Association of Ghana. So he was giving you some plaudits there, Mr. Sassari. That should feel good for you at this point, isn't it? Yeah. But he raised some critical issues. The expense of conducting business at the port. Why is it so expensive?
No, so far as the ports and harbors is concerned, our tariffs very, very competitive. Our cost of doing business is minimal. I mean, within the sub-regional context. I think what he was talking about was the duty and the demurrage, which we don't collect. You know, the duty is the taxes, the taxes, the customs duties, the import duties that people pay on their import, and then the demurrage is what is paid to the shipping companies. Yes, the shipping companies. When you delay in picking your container or picking the goods from your container, then they have charges or penalties that they slap on you for every day that you keep your goods. But
you are the landlord. Yes. The land is for you. These are your tenants who are charging other tenants for neck-breaking rates. Does it concern you?
Absolutely.
That this demurrage is so high, the money has to be repatriated into their home countries and not necessarily into our economy.
Absolutely, because the totality of all these charges translates into the cost of doing business in the port.
Right.
And so it is of very much concern to us. Unfortunately, we don't have the legal authorization to regulate, charges of all these agencies. It's the Ghana Shippers Authority that has the legal authorization to do that.
Right.
Even they regulate, Ghana Shippers Authority regulates our tariffs.
Absolutely.
Before we increased our tariffs slightly, we had to engage with Ghana Shippers Authority that looked at our proposals, and then they brought down the proposals to a level that they believed would be acceptable. So we engage with the shipping lines regularly and let them appreciate. Sometimes we have even petitioned customs.
Okay.
Sometimes we have petitioned even the Vice President's office about the cost of doing business. As at now, I know the last time we had a meeting, Ghana Shippers Authority was asked to coordinate an activity that would identify the various cost elements, with a view to taking some action to bring down the cost of doing business.
Right.
So something is being done.
When are we to see the implementation of what is being done, a realization of what is being done? Do we know?
Well, that is...
there are no timelines to it?
No, not yet. That is exactly what Ghana Shippers Authority is doing.
Right.
So we believe that we've identified all the areas that must be taken into consideration.
Let's go back to the initial conversation, the multiplicity of agencies which brought about the Goro boys, if you will. Has the paperless system completely wiped out the era of the Goro boys?
To some extent. I'm saying this because in the past we used to have a lot of people who did not have the right documents. I mean, in terms of certification, to do certain things in the port, especially the freight forwarding business.
Right.
And that was where we had the Goro boys operating. Now the coming of the paperless spread some panic among those guys, because they believed that the paperless was going to wipe them off. But then there are two things to do.
Was that the intention of the paperless
No,
system?
that was not the intention. The intention of the paperless was to introduce a new level of efficiency in the cargo clearance system or forwarding system. So
two things that happened, right?
So when the paperless came, it eliminated the person-to-person contact.
Right.
So the smart ones among them had to align with those who had the customs authorization to operate as freight forwarders, and who had the code that would have to they would have to input into their documentation, their online documentation. So those who were smart, if they had business, it's a matter of aligning with those who had the authorization.
So they could benefit from it.
So they could equally benefit from it. So many of them who could do that are in business. Others also who could go to school to acquire some technical know-how and then apply to customs for certification. Others have also done that, and they are in direct business. So they were not really affected. The concern now is how to activate the one of the pillars of the paperless system, which is the joint examination for all the agencies involved in examining cargo to come together, to come together so that they examine the cargo once and for all, so that you can have national security, BNI, customs. If the narcotic control board should be involved, they should be there.
FDA, everybody else.
They should be there at the same time, so that after examining the cargo, nobody would go and cross the cargo anywhere or somewhere and say that we suspect this, we suspect that. So that at the time of the joint examination, if you had any cause for suspicion, if you have had any tip-off that should warrant a deeper look or deeper examination beyond what is normally done, then right there and then you will activate that.
Is that a major cause for delays, for example?
That is a major cause for delay because, you see, after examining the cargo, incidentally, the Port Authority is not part of the cargo examination, mechanism. When they are examining cargo, our security stand at a distance and observe.
Watch, okay.
Exactly. But then, when you have, or when 2 or 3 have come together to examine, and then maybe one is not there, and the cargo is moving out of the port, then another will say that it is time. I was not there when it was being examined. I want to see it too, and you know what that would mean. If you are late, there's nothing in it, but that interruption is going to be at a major cost to you, because sometimes you would have to deploy men and equipment to offload the cargo,
right?
For whoever to have his way in terms of search or examination, and it's going to cost you.
Is it power play? By the agencies?
I don't want to call it power play.
Why don't you want to call it so?
I don't want to call it power play, but you see, many people have a reason for doing what they want to do in their own way. Many people have a reason for going by the status quo. Many people have a reason for resisting change.
Right.
But that is where we must insist on that change.
What is your toughest logistical challenge at Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority, from where you sit at the top as Director General?
Well, so far as we are concerned now, we don't have any significant logistical change.
Not at
logistical
all.
problem, no. We don't have any significant logistical problem. But the point I'm making is that all the agencies must, of course, sometimes you might have examined the cargo, even if it is a joint examination, but maybe on the way the cargo, as the cargo is moving, a tip-off may come,
right,
which will warrant that you interrupt the movement of the cargo to subject it to extra search or extra examination, in line with the tip-off that came. Yes, but under normal circumstances, when the cargo leaves the examination platform, there should be no interruption.
Right.
It must go straight away. So that is one area that we are still pushing those who are involved in the examination to do it jointly once and for all,
right, to
minimize the delays that are associated
and save the client's cost as well.
And save client costs in terms of the demurrage that Awingobi was talking about.
Expansion. Let's talk about port expansion.
That's right.
Finally, as we wrap up the conversation, what's the plan?
The expansion is ongoing. Yes, Tema Port, there's expansion ongoing there.
Okay.
To expand the container handling or holding capacity from 1 million 20-footer containers to 3.5 million 20-footer containers.
Okay.
So it is ongoing, and I keep saying that the import of that expansion project is not to grow imports, but to grow exports.
Okay.
So that we'll have a balanced trade. The dynamics of our trade is not good for our economy.
Okay.
And so we are putting every effort together. We have brought all stakeholder agencies, both private and public, who are connected with the growing of exports for us to strategize.
Okay.
Integrated strategy to grow the exports, to balance our trade, to ensure that we have a balanced trade, and then we get more earnings into our country than earnings going out of our country by way of import. TACRAD is also ongoing.
Right.
We have signed new agreements with new concessionaires for the development of a container multipurpose terminal. We signed it last year.
Okay.
And the bulk terminal expansion or development is also ongoing. So we are putting the port, we are positioning the port to be able to support growth in the economy, particularly in the area of the integrated aluminum industry.
I thank you very much, Mr. Paul Asarans. I'm grateful. I wish you all the best.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. And that's an exclusive there.